War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing, so the old song goes. So surely the liberal left woke types are 100% behind any plan that might instigate a peace process, right? Surely. It's almost like the woke left have been so hoodwinked and indoctrinated by the mainstream media that the left wingers are pro-war. Weird that, innit? Do you remember the good old days when hippies used to talk about give peace a chance, man? Well, they're long gone. The good old days have been consigned to the dustbin of history. Now, the hippie left types, they prefer the song War, What Is It Good For? Weapons manufacturers and the slimy, dirty, corrupt politicians that get paid by them. And you have to give credit to the people that have conditioned the normies, because in this day and age, 80% of society are now pro-war. The rhinos, the chicken hawks, these horrible politicians who were cowards when they were young enough to serve, chickens when they were teenagers, but the hawks now they're 60 and they're not going to get drafted, but they love the idea of topping the bank accounts up with some of Boeing, Lockheed and Raytheon's money. And thanks to the propaganda campaign pushed out by Silicon Valley, most people are now flag waving for Ukraine, and as a result we are headed for unending war. We've just got out of Afghanistan after 25 years, so now we need another decades-long conflict to keep greasing the wheels of the military-industrial complex, don't we? But it blows my mind that the modern left are now pro-war. With regards to Elon Musk's perfectly reasonable tweet, let's have a look at it. He simply tweeted out, Ukraine-Russia peace. Redo the elections of annexed regions under UN supervision. Russia leaves if that is the will of the people. Crimea is formally part of Russia, as it has been since 1783, until Khrushchev's mistake. Water supply to Crimea assured. Ukraine remains neutral. Surprisingly, it was split much more evenly than I thought it was going to be. But what I didn't see coming was the ridiculous backlash. He would have got less hostility from the woke left if they caught him wanking outside a primary school, although I think we already knew that, didn't we? We've seen what those boys like to get up to outside the schools. And the ambassador told Elon Musk literally to F off after he unveiled his peace plan. And the woke left thought it was brilliant. Can you imagine the hubbub if Donald Trump said the same thing? They're always talking about how you have to be polite, you always have to, oh my God, there's no need for that type of language. And then the second, one of these people that they've been ideologically conditioned to love, which is why they're all queuing up to gobble President Zelensky off. Someone like that says F off and they all go, lol, my side's hilarious, brilliant. The hypocrisy blows my mind, the stupidity and naivety of these people. What's wrong with simply asking for peace? The ambassador to Germany literally told him to F off, and Zelensky started a poll of his own asking his followers, which Elon Musk do you like more? One who supports Ukraine or one who supports Russia? So that means you support Russia. You say you want to have a peace between peoples, and that means you support Russia. What a reductive, stupid point to make. Well, it's a non-point, isn't it? Let me just spell this out for you, for anybody who is completely ignorant of historical events. There are only three options when you have a war. 1, kill all of the enemy. 2, completely get rid of one side by relocating them entirely. Or 3, broker a peace deal. There is no other options. And because we can't send all of the Russians to Moon Base 1, and I'm assuming we don't want to commit an act of mass genocide, the only option is the peace deal. Every major conflict has ended this way. The Northern Ireland conflict is a good example. If you want peace, both sides have to take a bite of a shit sandwich. The British weren't happy because loads of IRA murderers got released under the Good Friday Agreement. British soldiers were not given the same protections. Taxpayers had to pay compensation to some of the worst people you can imagine, as well as people who did deserve it. And obviously the Republicans and the IRA weren't happy because they didn't get a unified island. So guess what? Nobody was very happy. That's how you get a peace deal. And look at this clueless twat. Paul Massaro, let's try this then. Russia leaves Ukraine immediately, pays reparations, decolonizes, demilitarizes and denuclearizes. That's about as likely as me coming home from work tomorrow and catching Elton John in bed with my missus and Angelina Jolie. It's not happening. He doesn't swing that way. 143,000 likes, so we are in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. The masses appear to be so consumed by the propaganda that's being pushed out that they think a ludicrous set of demands like that would be adhered to by anyone. All you're saying to them there is fight to the bitter end, fight to the very last man. Because why wouldn't you? That's not an acceptable peace. It'd be like the British and the IRA getting around the table for the Good Friday Agreement and the British saying, right, you're not having unified Ireland, we're bringing back shagging your wives, every British private gets to bum your missus, and you're all going to jail, and we'll put your firstborn sons in the salt mines. How's that sound? You don't get peace that way. You've both got to give things up. If giving up some land in parts of the east of Ukraine, where people speak Russian and do seem to have more sympathy with the Russian cause because it's a complex issue, that should be something we're looking at. And the idea that if you don't want to at least suggest that we enter into peace talks somehow makes you, now you're Putin's boyfriend, oh my god, why don't you just go and lick the Kremlin, is infantile. We are heading for serious trouble if the masses keep tolerating this abject stupidity from our leadership. Nuclear war at worst, a grinding 25-year conflict at best, where nobody wants to give in. It's good for the arms manufacturers and it's good for the politicians, but it's not good for your sons and your sons' sons, and Christ, who knows how long it's going to go on for. And it's not good for me, and it's not good for the taxpayers, and it's not good for the people. But for some reason, the modern left are warmongers, pro-big business, pro-Silicon Valley, pro-big tech, pro-arms manufacturers, and pro-warhawk politicians. No give in them, no tolerance, no attempt at understanding, just unending war and death.
Do you know who you're dealing with?
That's progressive.